Hello, happy Sunday everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Jesus and why I believe in God. If you don't believe in Jesus or God, I hope you can stay long enough just to open your mind a little, open your heart. I hope to speak in love. I don't speak to condemn anyone or to look down on anyone, but we're going to start off. A lot of these reasons and evidence actually come from this one video I watched, Cliff. He has this video explaining his reasonings for God, and this is actually one of the videos that has really launched me into the path of Jesus and understanding about God, because it really does make sense. But I'm gonna play it here just so you can see it.
The evidence that God exists is, first of all, the order and design of the cosmos points to some type of intelligent mind.
So one of the first reasons is intelligent design. To think of all these systems in the world, the ecosystems, the way our blood vessels work, the way the trees work, and how they produce oxygen and capture sunlight, and the grass, the field. It's so beautiful and magnificent that I never really thought of it as design. I just thought of it as it's just the world. For example, the Falcon is shaped so beautifully that even the US government took inspiration from its design. That's the key word here, design. And you think about, creating things on your own. You think about how much creativity it takes to create a song, to create an invention, to create a certain, thing. It takes creativity and thinking and your mind to really invent something of your own. And to think of the world as just happenstance and accident after accident, and lightning struck a puddle and somehow we're here, is kind of insane, and it just doesn't really make much sense, because it kind of just invalidates how much effort it takes to design something. And the world is filled with so many beautiful designs. The way the clouds form, the way that animals work, the way that we consume meals and turn them into energy is just, it's a beautiful design. Literally, the study of biomechanics, you study how the body works and how the tendons move your limbs. It's fascinating, and I sound kind of crazy here, but it's beautiful. And to think that all of that is just a mistake it just doesn't feel right. There has to be some intelligent creator that created this beautiful world that we live in. The closest thing we've gotten to humans is probably the Tesla robot and sex dolls. And you think about how janky they look and how weird they look, that it just goes to show you that even the smartest minds of today can't create a human. And we're not even made from metal or all these wires. Were made from living cells.
Third piece of evidence for God's existence is moral absolutes. Every time you say, I should love, and other people should love, you are appealing to a standard outside of us. Well, the only way that standard can exist is if there is some mind prior to the human mind defines and creates that standard.
Second reason is the moral absolute part of it. The moral absolutes that we have is, the standards that we, somehow have in our mind to love one another, to not be racist, to not have hate towards another. And that really comes from God, because if you think about it, animals don't really have that moral absolute. They're very competitive based, they're very gene pool based, they gotta do what they have to do to survive. And that means eating their own children, that means, eating the same as their own species. It's a lot of things that we don't really agree with as humans, but we look at animals and it's okay. But the main point is here, we are not animals, we're not beasts. So the moral absolutes has to come from a more intelligent creator, a greater good, a God of love. And if we were like animals and we did adopt the same ways of living as them, we would be absolute monsters. If we were like beasts, fathers would kill their own sons and will kill other males just for the sake of having more females and expanding the gene pool. And that's not right, obviously. But the fact that we think that's not right points to a higher power, points to a moral absolute that comes from something greater than ourselves, that comes from God.
Secondly, the evidence is life comes from life. Life does not come from non-life. That is why it is far more plausible for me to believe in the beginning God than it is for me to believe in the beginning matter and energy.
The other reason is life comes from life. You look on everything on earth, life comes from life. And to think that, the beginning of life is actually non-life. It's just energy and matter. Doesn't make much sense. Energy and matter, yeah, they're building blocks of life. There's building blocks within us, but it's not life, you know? So the idea of life coming from a living God makes a lot of sense to me.
Fourth piece of evidence is love. If there is no God, love is simply a drive to preserve the genetic pool. My experience in life repeatedly shows me that there is more to love than simply a drive to preserve the genetic pool.
Then the other reason was love. I'm not necessarily talking about romance kind of love, but just love in general. You know, the love you have for your family, the love you have for your friends. You know, you do a lot of things for your family and friends that you wouldn't normally do. You go out of your way just to help them, right? Think about all the things you've done for your little sister, your little brother, you know, your family. Think about all the things you've done to help them, your friends, like all the things you've done to help your friends. That comes from love. That's a real thing. And it kind of ties into the moral absolute reason of if we were just animals, we wouldn't do that. We would actually just kind of like kill each other as competition, you know? So this idea of love coming from the God of love is beautiful, and it just makes so much sense. Another reason I want to talk about is the apostles and how they all got brutally murdered for their faith. And all of them had the chance to deny their faith and to stop teaching Jesus, but they didn't, because they saw him rise from the dead, and that was the truth they spoke, and for that truth they got brutally murdered. And you think about it now, no one dies for a lie. Who dies for a lie? Who wants to die for something that they didn't do or didn't witness? Like, why would they die for that? Why would they die for this, you know, joke? And all of them were all separated and alone and, you know, hundreds and thousands of miles away, but they all died the same way, claiming that Jesus is God and he is the truth, the way, the life. So I hope that people can understand that too, and I hope that if you're listening right now and you got this far, that you understand that as well. And these reasons make a lot of sense, and if you want to comment, if you want to debate about it, of course, by all means, go ahead in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you have any questions about Jesus, I'm still learning. I'm still reading my Bible, but I would love to answer them for you guys. I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope you have a greater understanding of why there is a greater possibility of Jesus being real. I personally believe 100%. I know that Jesus is real, but I hope that in your heart and in your mind that you're a little more open to Jesus, and you're a little more open to the idea of that he is the truth, the way, the life. That's pretty much it for this video. Happy Sunday. I hope you guys are safe and sound, get some rest, and love you guys, all right? Until next time, if you have any questions, let me know.